Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Felicia. So today is the part 2 of Charles Manson. So again, real quick before we get into the video, I would like to say again, I mean no disrespect to the victims or their families. If I get any of the information wrong, I am so sorry. That was not my intention. The information I give is what I found in my results of the case. This case contains murder of a pregnant woman, rape, cult activity, and it may also include some of the crime scene photo, which is very graphic. So, if this is a trigger for you, please feel free to back out of watching this video. Your mental well being comes first, and I'm sure I will catch you again with another video. And so, like I said, this is the second part to Charles Manson case. So, if you have not seen part one, part two may not make too much sense to you. So, just go on back and watch part one. And we'll be right here when you're ready to come watch part two. So, today we are going to start with the post trial events. Manson was admitted to the state prison from Los Angeles County on April 22, 1971 for 7 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder for the deaths of Abigail Ann Folger, Frykowski, Stephen Earl Parent, Sharon Tate Polonsky, Jay Sebring, and Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. As the death penalty was ruled unconstitutional in 1972, Manson was reinstated to life with the possibility of parole. His initial death sentence was modified to life on February 1st, 1977. So I get that California ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional in 1972. I understand that. But why would they give such a manipulative, dangerous man a life sentence with the possibility of parole? Like they should have just gave him life without parole. I mean, obviously he never got out because thankfully the parole board never gave him parole, but that could have been a very bad situation if they did. So on December 13th, 1971, Manson was convicted of first-degree murder in Los Angeles County for the July 25th, 1969 death of musician Gray Hinman. He was also convicted of first-degree murder for the August 1969 death of Donald Jerome Shorty Shea. Following the 1972 decision of California versus Anderson, California's death sentences were ruled unconstitutional, and that any prisoner now under the sentence of death may file a petition for right of habeas corpus in the Superior Court, inviting that court to modify its judgment to provide for the appropriate alternative punishment of life or life without parole, specified by statutes for the crime for which he was sentenced to death. Manson was thus eligible to apply for parole after 7 years of incarceration. His first parole hearing took place on November 16, 1978, at California Medical Facility, where his petition was rejected. So next we're going to talk about the 1980s to the 1990s. In the 1980s, Manson gave 4 interviews to the mainstream media. The first, recorded at California Medical Facility and aired on June 13th, 1981, was by Tom Snyder for NBC's The Tomorrow Show. The second, recorded at San Quentin State Prison and aired on March 7th, 1986, was by Charlie Rose for CBS News Night Watch, and it won the National News Emmy Award for Best Interview in 1987. The third, with Geraldo Rivera in 1988, was part of the journalist's primetime special on Satanism. At least as early as the Snyder interview, Manson's forehead bore a swastika in the spot where the X carved during his trial had been. Chris Scheck conducted an interview with Manson for his documentary Charles Manson Superstar 1989. Schreck concluded that Manson was not insane, but merely acting that way out of frustration. On September 25th, 1984, Manson was imprisoned in the California Medical Facility when inmate Jan Holmstrom poured paint thinner on him and set him on fire, causing second and third degree burns on over 20% of his body. Holmstrom explained that Manson had objected to his Hare Krishna chanting and verbally threatened him. After 1989, Manson was housed in the Protective Housing Unit at California State Prison, Cochran in Kings County. The unit housed inmates whose safety would be endangered by general population housing. He had also been housed in San Quentin State Prison, California Medical Facility, Folsom State Prison, and Pelican Bay State Prison. In June 1997, a prison disciplinary committee found that Manson had been trafficking drugs. He was moved from Cochran State Prison to Pelican Bay State Prison a month later. Now we're going to talk about the 2000s. On September 5th, 2007, MSNBC aired The Mind of Manson, a complete version of a 1987 interview at California's San Quentin State Prison. The footage of the unshackled, unapologetic, and unruly Manson had been considered so unbelievable that only 7 minutes of it had originally been broadcasted on Today. In March 2009, a photograph of Manson showing a receding hairline, grizzled gray beard, and the swastika tattoo still prominent on his forehead was released to the public by California corrections officials. In 2010, the Los Angeles Times reported that Manson was caught with a cell phone in 2009 and had contacted people in California, New Jersey, Florida, and British Columbia. A spokesperson for the California Department of Corrections stated that it was not known if Manson had used the phone for criminal purposes. Manson also recorded an album of acoustic pop songs with additional production by Harry Rollins. Title Completion. Only 5 copies were pressed. 2 belong to Rollins, while the other three are presumed to have been with Manson. The album remains unreleased. Now, I can tell you, I did search some of the like Manson songs and stuff like that to hear them. You can go and check YouTube. There's plenty of them on there. So now we're going to talk about illness and his death. So on January 1st, 2017, Manson was being held at Corcorna Prison when he was rushed to Mercy Hospital, downtown Bakersfield, because he was suffering from gastrointestinal bleeding. A source told the Los Angeles Times that Manson was very ill, and TMZ reported that his doctors considered him too weak for surgery that normally would be performed in cases such as his. He was returned to prison on January 6th, and the nature of his treatment was not disclosed. On November 15th, 2017, an unauthorized source said that Manson had returned to a hospital in Bakersfield, but the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation did not confirm this in conformity with state and federal medical privacy laws. He died from cardiac arrest resulting from respiratory failure brought on by colon cancer at the hospital November 19th, 2017. Three people stated their intentions to claim Manson's estate and body. Manson's grandson, Jason Freeman, stated in his intent to take possession of Manson's remains and personal effects. Manson's pen pal, Michael Channels, claimed to have Manson's will dated February 14th, 2002, which left Manson's entire estate and Manson's body to Channels. Manson's friend, Ben, claimed to have a Manson will dated January 2017, which gives the estate and Manson's body to Matthew Roberts, another alleged son of Manson's. In 2012, CNN ran a DNA match to see if Freeman and Roberts were related to each other, and found out that they were not. According to CNN, two prior attempts to DNA match Roberts with genetic material from Manson failed, but the results were reportedly contaminated. On March 12, 2018, the Kern County Superior Court in California decided in favor of Freeman in regards to Manson's body. Freeman had Manson cremated on March 20th, 2018. As of February 2020, Channels and Freeman still had petitions in California courts attempting to establish the heir of Manson's estate. At the time, Channels was attempting to force Freeman to submit DNA to the court for testing. So, involvement with Scientology. Manson began studying Scientology while incarcerated with the help of fellow inmate Lanier Rayner, and in July 1961, Manson listed his religion as Scientology. A September 1961 prison report argues that Manson appears to have developed a certain amount of insight into his problems through his studies of this discipline. Upon his release in 1967, Manson traveled to Los Angeles where he reportedly met local Scientologists and attended several parties for movie stars. Manson completed 150 hours of auditing. Manson's right hand man, Bruce Davis, worked at the Church of Scientology headquarters in London from November 86 to April of 69. So his relationships and alleged children. In 2009, Los Angeles disc jockey Matthew Roberts released correspondence and other evidence indicating that he might be Manson's biological son. Roberts' biological mother claims that she was a member of the Manson family who left in the mid 1967 after being raped by Manson. She returned to her parents' home to complete the pregnancy, gave birth on March 2, 1968, and put Roberts up for adoption. CNN conducted a DNA test between Matthew Roberts and Manson's known biological grandson, Freeman, in 2012, showing that Roberts and Freeman did not share DNA. Roberts attempted to establish that Manson was his father through a direct DNA test, which proved definitively that Roberts and Manson were not related. In 2014, the imprisoned Manson became engaged to 26-year-old Afton Lane Burton and obtained a marriage license on November 7, 2014. Manson gave Burton the nickname Star. She had been visiting him in prison for at least 9 years and maintained several websites that proclaimed his innocence. The wedding license expired on February 5, 2015, without a marriage ceremony taking place. Journalist Daniel Simon reported that the wedding was canceled after Manson discovered that Burton only wanted to marry him so that she and a friend, Craig Haymond, could use his corpse as a tourist attraction after his death. According to Simon, Manson believed that he would never die and may simply have used the possibility of marriage as a way to encourage Burton and Hammond to continue visiting him and bringing him gifts. Burton said on her website that the reason that the marriage did not take place was because Manson was suffering from an infection and had been in a prison medical facility for 2 months and could not receive visitors. She said that she still hoped that the marriage license would be renewed and the marriage would take place. On April 11, 2012, Manson was denied release at his 12th parole hearing, which he did not attend. After his March 27, 1997 parole hearing, Manson refused to attend any of his later hearings. The panel at the hearing noted that Manson had a history of controlling behavior and mental health issues, including schizophrenia and paranoid delusional disorder, and was too great a danger to be released. The panel also noted that Manson had received 108 rules violation reports, had no remorse, no insight into the causativity factors of the crimes, lacked understanding of the magnitude of the crimes, had an exceptional, callous disregard for human suffering and determined that Manson would not be reconsidered for parole for another 15 years. So, not any time before 2027, at which time he would have been 92 years old. So, the cult impact. In June 1970, Rolling Stone made Manson their cover story. Bernardine of the Western Underground reportedly said of the Tate murders, dig it. First, they killed those pigs. Then, they ate dinner in the same room with them. Then, they even shoved a fork into a victim's stomach. Wild. Manson fanatic James Mason claimed to be acting on a suggestion from Charles Manson based on his interpretation of something Manson said in a televised interview. When Mason founded the Universal Order, a neo Nazi group that has influenced other movements such as the terrorist group, the Atomwaffen Division, quoted a BBC employee's assertion that a neo-Manson cult existed in Europe, represented by approximately 70 rock bands playing songs by Manson and songs in support of him. Manson's music. Manson was a struggling musician, seeking to make it big in Hollywood between 1967 and 1969. The Beach Boys did a cover of one of his songs. Other songs were publicly released only after the trial for the Tate murders. On March 6, 1970, Lie, an album of Manson's music, was released. This included Cease to Exist, a Manson compilation the Beach Boys had recorded with modified lyrics and the title Never Learn Not to Love. Over the next couple of months, only about 300 of the 2,000 copies were sold. There have been several other releases of Manson's recordings, both musical and spoken. One of these, the Family Jams, included 2 CDs of Manson's songs recorded by the family in 1970, after Manson and the others had been arrested. Guitar and lead vocals are supposedly by Steve Grogan. Additional vocals are supplied by Lynette Form, Sandra Good, Catherine Scher, and others. One Mind, an album of music, poetry, and spoken word, new at the time of its release in April 2005, was put out under a Creative Commons license. American rock band Guns N' Roses recorded Manson's Look at Your Game Girl, included as an unlisted 13-track on their 1993 album The Spaghetti Incident. My Monkey, which appeared on Portrait of an American Family by the American rock band Marilyn Manson, includes the lyrics, I had a little monkey. I sent him to the country. I fed him on gingerbread. Along came a choo-choo. Knocked my monkey coo-coo. And now my monkey's dead. These lyrics are from Manson's Mechanical Man, which is heard on Lie. Crispin Glover covered Never Say Never to Always on his album The Big Problem Equals the Solution. The Solution equals Let It Be, released in 1989. So, guys, that's pretty much all the information I could find about Charles Manson. I'm sure there's plenty more out there because, I mean, he did so much, guys. Like, he did so much, and he had so many people do so many things for him. I did my best on this one because there was so much. So, if you liked the video, please subscribe. Make sure you turn the little bell on so when I do post a new video, especially for the ones that are two-parters, you get that notification. Thank you guys for being so great. Bye.